First, love yourself, where we talk about building love from inside out. In our last episode, we discussed healing emotional triggers, those moments when old wounds show up in present situations.
We discussed in the last episode how triggers they are not signs of weakness. You got to be very aware that they are not signs of weaknesses. They are just signs showing you that there are some things that still need to be addressed.
That's right. Today, we're going a step further. We are going to talk about how you respond when emotional triggers show up versus how you react.
Awareness without action, it keeps you stuck. Awareness, when you aware of something, that just means that you have knowledge of something. But the reason why it makes you still stuck is because you could be aware of something, but if you don't have a solution, you're going to find yourself in the same situation, not moving forward.
Exactly. Yes. What he's saying, you're aware of it. Once you're aware of it, you're not finished. You need to do something. You didn't know about. Now you know about it. After you know about it, you got to take some action. So, healing is one thing you can start doing because healing asks a deeper question. Who am I going to be when that situation show up? Because you get to say, you get to choose.
Triggers are going to show up just like life is going to show up because it's inevitable. Triggers are just really things that make us respond in certain ways to certain situations. So the same way you respond to certain challenges that come to you in life is the same way that you have to find a solution when triggers come your way.
Okay. Yes. So yes, triggers will always show up because that wound from the past is still there. Until you do something about it, they always gonna show up. So now what we're doing today, we are learning what we're supposed to do. What do we do when triggers show up? Are we letting triggers take control over the situations and make us act ways that can harm ourselves, or ways that can put you in places you're not supposed to be, ways that can make you say things that you are not supposed to say because they're hurtful to others and they create a lot of problem? So that's what we're learning. What do we do when triggers show up? Do we ask ourselves, okay, is this old? Am I reacting to something old, or am I reacting to something new? Because you know what, I took some notes. There's a space between healing, between triggers and how you respond.
A trigger is always going to be immediate. And the reason why it's going to be immediate is because 9 times out of 10, you're dealing in your emotions. And emotions make you react without even thinking about consequences or how other people may feel. So you're just reacting off of your emotions. And triggers, the thing about triggers is you have to get to a point where you identify when they show up, how they show up, and why they show up. They are the whys and the keys to how you get to fix your triggers. Because if you don't know why they show up, you don't know what they are, and you don't know what brings them about, you can't fix it.
Yep. Yep. And one way of knowing whether they what those triggers are, um whether you are reacting to a trigger or you responding to a present situation is to ask a question. And the question that is suggested to ask is when you triggered and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I is the feeling that I have is fresh? Is it young? Is it younger than me? Then if the question is yes, the feeling is younger than you, you are probably reacting to the past and not to the present. And at this point, what must you do? You got to bring yourself back, ground yourself back to the present moment, addressing what is happening now.
Well, the like you said, the first. With that being said, the first thing you can't do is become defensive, because when you become defensive, all you become irrational. And when you become irrational, no matter what anybody says to you, it's not going to matter. You're going to immediately shut down. You're going to immediately shut down. So any advice that's out there to you, you done blanked it out because you are now caught up in your emotions. You on a defensive tip, and you out there.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why there is a space. There's always a space that you need to take time to acknowledge. There's a space between the trigger and the response. That's the space that you need to know about. And in that space, that's where healing lives. In that space, that little moment we talk about, it's called a pause. I like to use the 10 seconds. 10 seconds is not a long time. Use that little pause. Take some deep breath to bring you back to the present. And when you do that, when you can bring yourself back to the present, you are doing something. You are reclaiming your emotional power.
Oh, you have to be able to control your emotions. If you can't control your emotions, like I said, which is really a reflection of your triggers, you basically like a runaway train to hell.
That's right.
Because you're not thinking. You're just out there. The first thing, like we said, is you have to be able to acknowledge that there's a trigger there. Once you acknowledge, that means you are aware. When you are aware of something, there is no more excuses. So now it boils down to I have to find a solution to these triggers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's taking action. So, yes, you're aware of it and you take action. Taking action to address it because you are in life, you always gonna have situations that bring triggers. But if when you start healing, though, they're gonna fade because every time you face a situation, you are not in your mind, since because you are working on it, it's gonna light in your head. Okay, I have to stay in the present. I have to deal with what's happening right now instead of letting myself drift into the past. So because you are paying attention, it's right there. Every time you are facing a situation, you're gonna ask yourself, am I in the present or am I in the past? And one thing is to ask yourself what I'm feeling. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Am I feeling something old, or is it new? And once you realize where you are, and then now it's your time to take control, because things will always happen, but how you react to them is the key, right? Because we cannot control of external event. We cannot control external event. There's always gonna be something in whatever area that it may be. There will be something. But now, how you respond, how you show up is what's going to matter. But because you now taking action, you become very aware. It's like now you always paying attention on how you're reacting because you love yourself. First, love yourself. You are protecting yourself. I mean, yes, you are protecting yourself. Not you're not only staying in that protection mode. You're going to try to connect. Like in our relationships, if we have something, instead of me trying to fight at shut down, I'm gonna try to connect because connections give me a chance to really address the present.
The reward that you get, right, from healing is amazing, right? When you address your issues, right, or you address your triggers, right, there is a reward in the end, which is going to ultimately be peace, right? But there's also a consequence for just acknowledging your triggers. You remember when I talked about you can be aware of something, but if you don't have the tools that you need to address it, you're just aware of it. You understand what I'm saying? Just like a psychopath can be aware that he has some issues, but if he's not doing anything or she's not doing anything to address those issues, what's going to eventually happen? He becomes a danger to the public. He knows that he has issues, but if he doesn't address those issues, he's a walking time bomb.
Yeah. So, so again, being aware of it is not enough. Taking action is definitely a must. And yes, healing emotional triggers, learning how to heal and how to respond and all that is a process. So now you're aware. So now every time you are faced with a situation, slow down. Use that pause, slow down, because when you slow down, it creates wisdom. It gives you a little chance to think wisely, right? Think wisely. Think about what you're saying. Think about the choices that you are making at the moment, right? Think. That pause, that slow down, that 10 seconds is priceless to you because what happened in a moment you can do something that you regret for the rest of your life. In a flash, you can say something that you can never take back. And those things, they break relationships. I don't care what relationships, whether it's a marital relationship, parental relationship, or friends, it can break. So that pause is very crucial. That slow down is very crucial to how to help you responding properly.
Give you some quick tips. Just a quick guide. When you are ready to deal and address your triggers, you have to confront them with an open mind. You have to confront them with honesty.
Yes.
You have to confront them at some point accepting the role that you play in it. It's about you can't heal anything or address anything if you're not honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. And again, I think I said this before, but you'll either deal with your issues or your issues will deal with you. One way or the other, it's going to get dealt with. But triggers can be very, very dangerous. And what I mean by that is it can stop your potential growth. It stops your growth. It stops you from obtaining something that everybody would love to have, and that's peace. Because when you have triggers going on, what's going on is a war inside of you. And anybody that comes in your midst at that time, you drag them onto your battlefield. And they become unwilling participants in your war that you have going on. So be very mindful that self-reflection is key when you're dealing with addressing triggers.
Yes. Yes. So, yes, all that, you need to make a choice. It comes down to a choice. Is that triggers gonna show up? They're gonna be there. You're aware of them. Now is to reclaim your power, to take control, to not let triggers control you, but for you to take control over them. And by doing that, you will reclaim your power. Not power to control others, but the power to control your inner peace, like your inner world, your peace. That is really important. So I invite you to share this episode if it resonates with you. If you know a friend that need a pause, share this episode with them. And you are welcome to comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. We will be back with another episode. But again, share, because we know this issue has caused so many problems on a smaller scale in family, friendship, and etc., and in the world. Because today, what happens? A lot of things happen based on an emotional decision, an emotional reaction that someone takes within 5 seconds or 10 seconds. If they could use that 10-second pause, it would really make a world of a difference, because it would give them time to use a little wisdom. So again, if this resonates with you, share it, and don't forget to always come to our channel, because we will always be dropping something, and that will help us to grow and continue in the pursuit of loving yourself first.
Hit that like, subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. Click the link in my bio. Grab my guide, Finding Balance in Chaos. Very powerful guide. Something you should definitely get.
I highly suggest it. It's very powerful. On the TikTok, you must get that, because there's so much in it that will benefit you. So don't forget to get it. You gave him the link on your bio.
The link in my bio is there. Until next time, guys, remember, love is the highest level of elevation. But remember, before you can love anybody else, you first gotta love yourself. Love is not a emotion. It's an action. Until next time, peace.